Bill Crawford here, psychologist, speaker, author of 8 books, host of 2 PBS specials, here again to bring you another tip on how to help you create the life you want. Specifically, how to use my life from the top of the mind philosophy to bring more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do. Today I'm starting with a quote. It's a quote that I got from a professor of mine when I was going through my Ph.D. program, Dr. Sam Buser. By the way, each week I send out one of my favorite quotes along with 2 or 3 paragraphs about how to apply that quote to life. If you would like to receive that, it's free. Just go to my website, billcrawfordphd.com, or just Google Bill Crawford PhD. I'll come up on the first page. Hit the subscribe button, put your name, email address in, and each week I'll send you one of my favorite quotes along with 2 or 3 paragraphs about how to apply it to life. So again, this comes from one of my favorite professors, Dr. Sam Buser. He said, "Hey Bill, the secret to happiness," I call it the key to peace of mind, but he said the secret to happiness is a high tolerance for ambiguity. I like that. And when I mention that to my seminar participants and people I work with, they go, yeah, that's true. And yet it's easier said than done, right? And I think for those of us who kind of understand the brain, we kind of know why it's challenging to cope with ambiguity. And by the way, I think one of the things we're all dealing with today is a whole lot of ambiguity, a whole lot of uncertainty. So for those of you who follow my life from the top of the mind philosophy, you know that there's a reason for that, and it has to do with how the brain processes information. The middle brain limbic system, its mission on the planet is to scan the environment looking for any signs of danger. Long time ago, it kept us safe by reacting to danger, by throwing us into the lower part of the brainstem, where we get into fight or flight and we kind of deal with whatever danger's around. Unfortunately, the middle brain does not like ambiguity. It does not like uncertainty, and unfortunately, it has a tendency, in fact, to interpret ambiguity as dangerous and throws us into the part of the brain that's designed to deal with danger. That, unfortunately, triggers our anxiety, our frustration, our stress, and when we try to deal with life from that lower brain, we can't, because the things we're dealing with today, even ambiguity, isn't something we can deal with from a perspective of stress, frustration, anxiety. It's understandable. It's just not working for us. So what I like to do is say, okay, if we don't want to go to that lower brain, that reactive brain, what part of the brain do we want to go to? I call it the top of the mind, this upper 80% of the brain, the neocortex. This is where we have access to our clarity, confidence, creativity, compassion, the abilities that allow us to deal with uncertainty in the most influential way. So I have created a book that I call Life from the Top of the Mind. That's what I teach when I go around and do my seminars, Life from the Top of the Mind, when I'm working with individuals. It's really all about rewiring this middle brain, reprogramming the limbic system so it interprets ambiguity in a way that allows us to access the things we can know. So see, it's not about just ignoring ambiguity or pretending there is no ambiguity, right? It's about being able to deal with ambiguity in an unambiguous way. Kind of like, what do we know? What can we have confidence in? So when I'm working with individuals, I encourage them to make a list of 20 qualities or characteristics of them at their best. Things we know that we can count on, that aren't ambiguous. Our clarity, confidence, creativity, our curiosity, our sense of humor, our sense of adventure, our ability to stick to things, to go into a situation and know what we want to accomplish and move through the process and accomplish it. We've all done that. And so we all have that ability, but we've got to know it comes from the upper 80% of the brain. This is the purposeful part of the brain. This is where we begin to influence our experience of life and help other people's influence theirs as well. So, the question I think we want to ask ourselves is, okay, am I dealing with ambiguity in a way that I would recommend to someone I love? Am I feeling clear, confident, creative about the things I can influence? Or am I worrying a lot about the things I can't? Because until we're able to develop this high tolerance for ambiguity, and that's important, not just kind of have a high tolerance, but develop a high tolerance for ambiguity. That means we want to recognize that ambiguity is a part of life. There are always things that are going to be unknown, that we're not going to know, that are going to be ambiguous. So rather than making that something this middle brain reacts to, why don't we just kind of accept it as part of life and say, okay, these are the aspects of life I'm not going to be able to control. What can I count on? What can I control? How can I bring my best to life? I call it our highest purpose because it speaks to what part of the brain we're coming from, that highest upper 80%, and makes it one of the most important things in life. And I think that's what's going to be necessary in order to develop a high tolerance for ambiguity. So developing means actually rewiring the brain, kind of beginning to retrain this middle brain to see things that are ambiguous not as threats, but as, okay, good information. I want to make sure I'm bringing my best to that situation so I can be as influential as possible. Because until we develop this high tolerance for ambiguity, unfortunately what we're going to be doing is allowing this middle brain to throw us into that old reactive brain and making ambiguity one more reason to be stressed, frustrated, and anxious. So, if you like that, I encourage you to give me a call, kind of contact me, go to the website, billcrawfordphd.com. Let me know if you would like me to come to your organization, or we can do this virtually in these times, and teach this, kind of have a system that starts with understanding how the brain works, gives you a system for shifting to the top of the mind, a whole other system for how to stay there and rewire the brain. If you feel this is something that you or your organization, your church, your school, your family would like, I'd love to do this. This is my highest purpose, going around teaching this system to people. So feel free to go to the website. By the way, if you're liking the videos, please hit the like button. You know how all YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, iTunes love it when you like it. Share it with your friends if you find it valuable. If you're not already subscribed on YouTube, I would encourage you to go ahead and do that. LinkedIn, I post one of these every week. So until next time, here's to you. Bring in more clarity, confidence, creativity to everything you do by knowing how to access the clear, confident, creative part of the brain. And I look forward to seeing you in the future.